Hello and welcome to Discover Joyous Love. Once again, I'm your host, Anita DeFrancesco. This is episode number 11, and our topic today is Build Your Relational Spectrum. What we're going to be talking about is how to have a healthy relationship and going from abusive to healthy. And what does that spectrum look like for you in your relationship? How do you navigate between the rights and the wrongs, the arguing, and the hate and the passion and the impassion, and how do you go between what is right and what is wrong? How do you maintain and sustain the love in the middle of all of this, the chaos? There is what we call in Tantra wisdom, my work, balancing out the giving and receiving. So giving and receiving not only is about materialistic giving and receiving, it's about giving affection and receiving affection. It's about listening to your partner and being heard. It's about how much affection you share with each other. And what is the scale that you work on? And is there love there as well to sustain the love? So let's get started with the topic today. The healthy versus the abusive relationship, and with the unhealthy in the middle. So you have healthy, you have abusive, and then you have unhealthy in the middle. So somewhere we have to find the balance of how to stay together and live together and understand each other for the long term. Now, in a healthy relationship, we're going to talk about healthy and abusive. In a healthy relationship, there is communication. You have communication, you talk about things. You take the time to listen to your partner. You hear each other. In an unhealthy relationship, there's what we call violent communication, where it's abusive, condescending, dismissive, belittling. So it's or in a tone of hate. So during your communication with your partner, it's important to understand the different levels of communication and how to speak calmly and listen to each other during that process. Or sharing your feelings, sharing your emotions, sharing your thoughts with your partner. Respect. And then there's disrespecting. Respect is love. Love is respect. Respect is love. And love is respect. So if there is, during the time of a relationship, there's going to be times when there is disrespect going on. But if the foundation of respect isn't there, you have a problem in the relationship. That needs to be there. We'll show you how to get there. Trust. This is the biggest issue, trust and mistrusting. So when you and your partner talk about things and you share your thoughts, your feelings, emotions, is there a sense of trust? Now, trust is not guaranteed in any relationship. It is not a guaranteed thing. You will find that trust is not a part of the human character. You will mistrust someone. You will not believe them. You will have fights about lying and disrespecting each other. But trust is one of the biggest issues that people think it's a guarantee. You know, you have to work toward that, for one thing. And even working toward trust, no matter how hard you work to trust one another, the human character is not designed to be fully committed in trust. People go off the grid. People, do what they want to do. And we're independent people. Even though you're married, you're in a relationship, you're exclusive. People will show you that they cannot be trusted because the human character isn't designed this way. So we have to work around that. We have to understand where that comes from. Equal balance of giving and receiving. So always maintaining that balance of giving and receiving. And that is something that we teach in Tantra, that you can learn how to equalize things, not one over receiving or one over giving. Enjoying the personal time away from your partner is healthy. When you take time away and you create space for yourself, it is part of building that relational spectrum where you are coming back to each other, coming back to the sacred space. What would be unhealthy is isolating your partner from others. Maybe you don't want your partner to be around their family or friends because you have an insecurity that you might lose them, or you might lose the attention that they give you, or you might not have them all for yourself. So this is abusive. It's not even unhealthy. It's considered abusive. Accusing each other of cheating is considered abusive because, remember, like I said, trust is not guaranteed, but loving and respect is part of the responsibility that you take when you connect to another person's feelings and share love and open your hearts to each other. So there is some form of responsibility. And there are relationship rules that go along with this. We're talking about building your relational spectrum, the healthy versus abusive relationship. And the unhealthy one is just in the middle. That will be the dysfunctional, where people are not really healthy, but they're not really abusive, but they need work. They need to go to a therapist. They need to get marriage counseling. They need to do something to help themselves to clear the pathway inside, to clear that pathway, to clear the baggage, to open up the trauma that's living inside the body. Hello everyone, this is Discover Joyous Love. I'm Anita DeFrancesco. It's Monday and we are on episode 11 talking about build your relational spectrum. Dumping and walking on a lover, taking a lover for granted. I often wonder how one can do that. I've been in many relationships, and yet I would never take someone's feelings for granted. Do you take people's feelings for granted outside every day in the world, at work, or the family, or anyone, just people in general? So I say the way we are in a relationship, walking on someone, taking the feelings for granted, is a reflection of how you view other people in general. So in general, you're really not connecting to other people and you're just putting on a face, showing that you do care about your coworkers or that you care about people that you meet, you care about their feelings. I'm not saying you have to care about everyone's feelings, but feelings is just part of, if you can open up to your own feelings and understand other people's feelings, you don't have to understand them in depth. And just being honest is just a normal human way to be, is to connect with feelings and understand feelings. So for someone to walk on you or dump you, like, and just take you for granted, it's just beyond me, because I could never do that to someone. I'm so true to my feeling. That's the key, being true to your own feelings. How about that one? See if you can practice that this week. Now, folks, emotional triggers, right? The deeper the intimacy, so the deeper you go in love with a partner, the deeper, the more primitive emotions will emerge. And this is a good thing because you can help each other work out your old pain, your trauma, your frozenness, your stuckedness, whatever it is that you have from school days, mom and dad days. I mean, the deeper you go in intimacy, it's like you're opening up, you're undoing, you're unfolding. You're unfolding that part of you that has been dormant all along in the brain body. So once this opens up, then, the primitive emotions emerge. But then sometimes you start to hate each other and you start to blame each other and you want to run away from the love because the pain is coming and no longer are you thinking that this is love, that this is supposed to be love, and you're feeling your old pain. And this is where people have confusion and they run away from each other. And people will turn around and the first thing they say is, oh, he or she was afraid of the deep love, or didn't want to go deeper, or got afraid of commitment. But it wasn't even about any of that stuff. It was about your old pain coming up and you facing it. And so this is primitive. And And actually going deeper in a relationship is wonderful. But what you need to do at that point is that's the point when you want to seek out therapy. You want to seek out going to see someone to help you work those fresh, raw emotions emerging so that you can get rid of the old stuff and make more room for the love that you have already built up with this particular person. While it can be an opening to heal, it can dampen the relationship. So let's keep that in mind and also having too much sex right away with someone, moving quickly into the relationship is another detour for you in you not understanding your emotions, because the primitive emotions, the unmet emotions, they will emerge, and this will be, to you, will look like something different. And it could turn ugly, and it could turn to hate, and it could make you run. So seeking out the therapy, sex therapy, love and relationship coach. I am a love and relationship coach, and I work with people's emotions and their whole being to help them understand and how to navigate through going deeper in a relationship. Because love is beautiful if you allow yourself to heal. It's all healing, folks. It's all healing. So you need to clear before entering the serious relationship. Patterns, neglect, and abandonment will come up. So if, again, you're going deeper into this intimacy, you're in this relationship, and you're starting to feel the opening and the connection to your partner, and then all of a sudden ugly comes up, abandonment, neglect, and old patterns. So what we want to do is create new patterns by recreating the self. Now, this work has to be done. It's done in breathing and all different types of therapies, but talking, crying, it's a work in progress, but healing those and talking about those unmet emotions that you had over the years, or where someone left you in a place where they left you in a place of loneliness, of neglect. So what we want to do is start to open that can of worms. And that can of worms will open. But you're not going to be able to have the love of your life, that twin flame, if you don't heal those emotions, right? So now let's talk about power and control, fighting. No one controls the dynamics of the relationship. I'm sorry, no one controls the dynamics of the relationship. The relationship has no control. It is fluid, it is sacred, and it is divine. And I will leave you with that. Because if one controls the relationship, undermining and belittling will happen. And one person will have sex when they want to have sex, and the other person will be on hold, or the other person will have to wait for them. There should be this congruency, this agreeance. There is no control. The fluidity, sacredness, and divinity of coming together to share. But the people who want to have the power and control, again, you need to get into some form of metaphysical healing, coaching. There are responsibilities when holding emotional space for each other, taking care of each other's needs. There are responsibilities for holding emotional space for each other. I'll leave you with that on that topic. Now let's get into respect, recognition. Now a lot of time there's many fights that exist, or many disagreements in relationships about fights, about recognition. About recognition and respect, how do you navigate through respect, recognition? Acknowledging your partner is one thing. Acknowledging the things they do, supporting what their efforts are. If they're taking on a new project, a new career, whatever it is, compliment them, appreciate them, acknowledge them, thank them for being in your life. But most of all, respect them and support them. And I'm going to leave you on that. For recognition, supporting your partner, telling them they're doing great, acknowledging everything they do, whether you like it or not, whether you like what they're doing or not. But you could If you don't like what they're doing or you want to give them advice, you don't want to point the finger. That gets back to the power and control. You want to criticize in a supportive, loving, healthy way. Like, hey, what you're doing is great, but I would suggest maybe you do something this way or that way. So it's the way you say things. Let's get into what care and closeness. Now, people have disagreements about this. Supporting her, supporting him when they're very anxious, when they're having a moment in their life, when they're emotional about something. Sometimes people run away from the partner's emotions. Say your partner had a death in the family and they have all these emotions emerging, or something happened where they're very anxious and they're on an anxiety trip for a month and you just can't take it. And you're going to put them down, or you're going to be like, whoa, I can't handle this. This is a big problem in relationships. People can't handle each other's emotions. And I don't mean in the love part. I don't mean in the sex part. I mean when something in their life arises, their projects, whatever they're doing, it's like people fear to see the grief emotions or the anxiety emotions, or because they don't know what's overcoming of them, and they're seeing their partner through a different lens, actually, and they become afraid because they think they have to do something. They think they have to rescue the partner, or it's just too much for them. So let's wake up to this, folks. Let's wake up to equalizing and balance, giving and receiving, care and closeness, having intimate sex, and why there is no sexual play in the relationship or intimacy being exchanged. Even if you have issues in that way of your physicality, you still want to share closeness by hugging. Hugging is beautiful. Hugging and cradling each other and just caressing your partner, whether there's intercourse or not, is really not that important if the love and attention is there. Attention, intention. So I'll leave you with that there. Moving on to shifting and creating new patterns. Again, restructuring your cognition, dismantling the entrenched dynamics. So we want to rewire you, so to speak. We want new patterns of mutual self-awareness and affirmations for each other. And this shapes the process of the relational spectrum. Trust, again, like I said. Now let me read you a quote by Esther Perel, what I'm going to put up. In relationships, trust isn't a promise to never hurt each other. It's the risk that we will hurt each other and the confidence that if we do, we will come together to heal. Esther Perel, that is. And you can find her online. She's a wonderful relationship psychotherapist like myself. And she's works in the field of love and relationships. And she has a lot of books out. In my mind, there is no such thing as trust, because the human condition, like I said, is not designed to grasp what trust even means. We are not even there in the world. In every relationship, you will get hurt. But where love lives, expect to forgive each other over and over and over again. So in every relationship, expect to be forgiving your partner over and over and over again. Because that is what love is. It's about forgiving. And it's about loving again. Because in life, we forgive every day. People in our immediate families, people at the job, people in the everyday activities that we do. There's always this thing of forgiveness that comes about somehow, some way. There's always disagreement and conflict, and people fall off the grid. They fall off the planet of Earth for a while from each other, but then they come back because they forgive. And in relationships, love, where love lives, where heavy-duty love lives, there's always going to be forgiveness. Real relationships that last involve a lot of forgiveness. So accept that he or she isn't perfect and will hurt you. A time to heal, folks. It's a time for healing. Now, healthy relationships are based on equality and respect, so we're getting back to that, not power and control. So when are we going to learn that? I know some people, look, the ego is a place that suffers sometimes, and they need to control. The ego can suffer. The ego is a suffering part, but it's there for survival. It is there for someone who needed to have more of a developed ego, an overdeveloped ego. But we need our ego. Don't get me wrong. Ego is a wonderful thing for groundedness, for congruency, for all kinds of things, for making a point, taking responsibility for your own happiness. Now, have you thought about that? Is he or she going to make you happy? If that's the case, you need to get in that isolated part of you that's dormant, that comes out when you meet someone and you think that they're responsible for your happiness. This is not so. We are responsible for each other's feelings when we open up and we sort of form some commitment of sharing, love, intimacy, passion, sexuality. But again, if the communication is there, then things will flow much smoother. And I mean word communication from your mouth to your partner's mouth, and talking to them with sincerity and with honesty. So when you speak the truth, this is where you will understand your own self, your own emotions, and you really won't get hurt. And your happiness won't be their job, it'll be your own. Make good on your words. Follow through on the promises. Oh, you heard this many times. I'll promise I'll do this. I'll promise I'll do that. So making good on your words, being true and disciplined in that way. I know that's tough for people. It really, really is a tough one out there, folks. But let's see if we could work at discipline. Admitting and owning up to your mistakes. Now, look, there is no right, there is no wrong. And there is no political correctness. That doesn't exist in the world where I come from, because I'm in the spiritual world. And having a mistake, it is normal and human to make mistakes. It is normal and human to lie. It is normal and human to run around and cheat and do different things. It is. And like I said, trust has not even doesn't even exist in the human character. I don't even know what it is. Because we are not designed to be like, okay, trust me forever, I'll never do anything wrong. Good luck with that one, huh? But admitting to the mistakes is the key. So where the trust begins is in your words that come out of your mouth. It doesn't begin in your actions. It begins right here, an eye connection. So you're going to admit and own up to your mistakes. Now, being realistic, agreeing and disagreeing, pushing together through the tough times. Oh, this is a good one. Pushing together through the tough times. Supporting your partner. Your partner is out there doing some new entrepreneurial projects, and there are tough times with that. Are you there working together with that partner? Are you just admiring them or watching them do it alone? Then why are you in the relationship? You're to support one another's endeavors, whatever you're doing. Why are you in the relationship if you're not going to support them in the best way that you can, in the best way that you know how? Being there, being present, listening and hearing, listening with your full body, not going in one ear out the other. People say they listen, but I'll tell you, people listen, but they do not hear because they have so much head chatter. The chatter is here, it's going. And how can you hear if you have all this head chatter? How can you hear? You must focus. You must come into the silence to really connect and hear someone. And when you can do that, you're almost a genius. Affectionate, compassionate, and loyalty. So demonstrating affection and compassion to each other. Look, I know we all have bad days and things. And, again, part of relationships is always coming back to the forgiveness. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Yes, that's going to go on forever. So get ready for that. before you get in. Understand the dynamics of a relationship before getting into it. Loyalty, reverence. Loyal. How loyal are you? It's hard for people. I find it easy for me to be because, I've done a lot of the work, the transformational work that has to be done. The only thing that really matters is love. Communicate openly. Trust, respect, getting back to that. Supporting, acknowledge. We've already discussed that. Expressing emotions. So sharing your thoughts and feelings. So whatever your thoughts and feelings are you expressing your emotions to your partner or anyone? Or are you holding them on for yourself? Expressing them, putting them out on the table, you can gain support. You can gain a different perspective. You can not be alone. You're listening to Discover Joyous Love. The topic is Build Your Relational Spectrum, episode number 11. I'm Anita DeFrancesco. Checking in with each other. I call it the tasty cake. The tasty cake. Take out time for the tasty cake. Remember that commercial? Something like that. If you're from Philly, because tasty cake is a Philadelphia product, taking the time out. I say build a little altar. Have this where your two pillows are. This is the sacred temple with those little kind of curtains, and maybe in the corner of your bedroom or your house somewhere where you have a place where you both can sit when you have that moment that you're feeling like you need to check in with each other. Maybe you've become distant with each other because you're both busy, you're traveling, or the children, or whatever. Life gets in the way and you lose each other. So you've got to check in. You have to keep coming back, checking in. Come back to that sacred space. TantraWisdom.com is my work. Coming back to the sacred space. I will be having workshops in the fall here in Philly. Right down here, not far, right around South Philly. I'm going to be having some workshops. So you want to keep coming back. Check in. Remove the isolation. Stop being in denial. Then you're alone. Just a little bit more for you. Creating the foundation of respect is the big thing. So in everything that we do, we want to have a foundation. What is the foundation? Giving each other space. Now, this is a big one. In relationships, you do need space away. Lovers need time away. You've heard that song, right? Lovers need time away, far away from each other. And then you come back together. So space doesn't mean like, cut, dry, I'll never see you again, but it means that you may go away for a week or so with the girls, or he may go away with the guys, or go on a hunting trip, or whatever it is. The space is there. And yes, the heart makes the heart grow fonder, but that's not really what it's about. It's about you coming back to your temple, inside that temple that lives in the lower chakra of your body, and understanding that you have your own identity. So the identity is important. And once you reclaim this identity and then come back to meet your beloved, your twin flame, it's beautiful. Expect and embrace changes is another thing. Changes, no one changes for you. You can't change anyone. It's about adapting and adjusting. We shift, we adapt, we adjust to each other's lifestyle, to each other's way, to where that person lives, or what they do, and what you are going to adjust to what they're doing now, or they're going to adjust and adapt to what you're doing. So this is key. You're not going to change anyone, but you are going to adjust and adapt to the way people are. And don't try to change your partner. Don't even think about it. The shift will happen because you will both be adjusting with healthy boundaries. And one last thing, respect your partner's privacy. We all need some privacy of our own. And whatever that may be, don't go snooping through their drawers all the time, or, everyone has their own privacy, and we never want to feel interrogated, especially by a beloved. But it doesn't mean that you cannot share those private things, those private moments, whatever that may be. Because privacy doesn't mean you're hiding something or you're doing something behind someone's back. It just means that, hey, you want to have some private thing hurting your partner. So staying connected to the partner always is key. I want to thank
you for tuning in to Discover Joyous Love. I've been your host, Anita DeFrancesco, episode number 11. Build your relational spectrum, and tantrawisdom.com is my website. I also have a true crime book called The Donna Gentile Story, Donna, Gentile.com, and that is a true crime book available on Amazon. Please check out my work. I would love to work with you. I'm in Philadelphia, and I do Zoom as well.